Hi Pisces, here is a general look at your solar chart for November 2014. Now this month all of the signs are getting a little bbit more emphasis on Saturn simply because the Sun is in Scorpio, which is currently hosting the transit of Saturn or transiting Saturn. So Saturn since October 2012 in Scorpio has been in a very positive, useful angle to your sun sign. So this is going to bring out the upside of Saturn. Saturn's going to be in a better mood for you, and she is the great builder. She's the master teacher and builder. And so the area that you will have been building in is actually possibly for some of you academically or through literature, through publishing, even broadcasting, through building through higher education. I say higher education, I suppose I mean formal and informal ways of learning stuff. There's a huge learning curve that can be going on with Saturn, but because Saturn's methods are to make us feel sometimes that there is a lack of something in our, perhaps a hole in our knowledge, we have to take on a little bit of adversity in order to achieve or to join up our knowledge with more knowledge. So find, you know, the pieces, the missing pieces of a jigsaw, this then makes us feel proud because we proved ourselves. We haven't just fallen at the first fence. And so if you're a student or if you're somebody who is just teaching themselves or learning as you go along, this is the area that Saturn is in, but there are hurdles to get over because Saturn, she's very canny, Saturn. She teaches through adversity. She urges us, almost like throws down the gauntlet and says, okay, show me what you're made of. Step up to that plate then. Let me see you do it. And you can, as I say, build a kind of new reality wherever Saturn is for your, you know, pull things together in the mode of the area that Saturn is sitting in, transiting your chart. So it is about learning. It's also about travel. It's about lands further afield or places further afield, and Saturn is actually about to leave there. Saturn's going to leave there at the very in the last week of December 2014 for a few months before she nips back in for a few months in 2015. So she's the wake up and smell the coffee planet. You've heard me say that before, those of you who've listened to my channel before, but she is the planet that says, okay, now it's time to get real here. So anything related to interests abroad or connections with those at a distance, or a higher education, or putting the word out on a wider stage, or pilgrimage maybe for like higher spiritual knowledge or anything like that, you're taking more seriously and you're working harder for. Also the law. So some of you may, because if you're on that vibrational string, you may have had to look into the legal side of this, that, or the other thing. And you could have been taking that more seriously. And however it is for you, you're developing slowly, because nothing with that Saturn happens quickly. A new understanding and slowly chipping away there. Just be steady and patient. But you could, you know, come out the other end as being very respected for your knowledge, your way of communicating. Could be about languages as well. Your knowledge, your wisdom, which comes way after knowledge, but also appreciate and even wish to emulate you for what you know, what you are, but also you appreciate and emulate others. But if you've been all head in the clouds and all sort of rose-tinted spectacles about something or someone, then this one will really bring you down to earth, this transit, and get you to realize the reality of the situation, warts and all. Okay, so I'm mentioning all that first because we are getting, so look to the second week, because in the second week we have Venus going over Saturn there, and in that area, and actually a Venus transit in that area is nice and friendly. It's helpful. You can really feel a rapport with somebody who has a teaching for you, or with whom you have a teaching, because it's often a sort of mutual thing, isn't it, when you really click with someone. But just between the 10th and the 14th section of it, you have to be maybe a little bit more businesslike, have firmer boundaries, be a bit more formal there, a bit more correct, okay? Whether that's in a relationship, or whether that's in sort of like a negotiation type situation, a financial type situation, a property related situation, whatever it is. And also the Moon and Saturn meet each other every month anyway, but I'm going to mention the time the Moon is close to Saturn this month because of all of this Saturnitis around. So those times will be the 7th and the 8th, the 14th and the 15th, and the 22nd and the 28th, and also Mercury is going to be around there on the 22nd too. So that might not be the best day. You know, if you've got an exam on that day, or you really got to put your thinking cap on that day, probably, but you could also be feeling a little bit heavier on that day. Or maybe not. Maybe you don't even notice it because you're on such an up that you don't notice it. It just depends where you're at, okay? So I'm just pointing that one out for those of you who think you'll need it. So this is the vibrational weather pattern on that day, and might be feeling a bit like, oh, sorry for yourself, but also on the 28th as well, oh, poor me, nobody loves me, you know. So on those couple of days there, but also there could be more paperwork type things, or maybe it's to do with vehicles, it could be to do with schedules, it could be to do with transport, it could be to do with communications equipment, and there's just some glitches there. So that's between the 22nd and the 28th, but particularly on the 22nd and the 28th, as I said. And excuse the offstage noises, but I am sitting just about 4 feet, 3 feet away, 4 feet, yeah, 4 or 5 feet away from a very, very noisy Spanish street with some very, very ancient walls around. And yep, there's a car there, and the people are getting into the car. So we will just push on. Life goes on in all of its wonderful colour. Yes, having a wonderful time in the sunshine out there. And maybe going off to the beach, who knows. So that's when the moon goes over there. And also for your information, 17th to the 19th, that is when the Sun and Saturn are close together. Again, perhaps not the best date to schedule anything which you want to be sort of, you've got high hopes about, that you want to be maybe fun and light and lovely and playful, because that's, again, rather po-faced, you know, it's a little bit of a po-face. It can be to do with parents, though, because actually Saturn is quite a parental planet. So the times that it's going over the moon, the times that it's going over the sun, she's going over the moon and sun, there might be for some of you that kind of interaction with, it's to do with being responsible, okay, and being parental, but also actual parent energy may be coming in there as well. Okay, so new potentials are in the wind, though. Actually, this is a great month. You know, I pointed out to you some, just some, it's a bit like a GPS, you know, traffic alert. But actually, the rest of the time, things could go just quite swimmingly. So the sun is in it's in a great angle to your sun sign. It's in a very expansive area, And if you've got itchy feet, you could get itchy feet now, but even if you don't, this is the time really and truly to deliberately take yourself up and out of the routine box, you know, and really plunge into a different kind of environment. So just instead of taking your regular route to work, just go a different way, even that. And try out new things, you know, enroll in something, but also take a trip. That would be good. And read about something that you've never read about before, or whatever it is. You know, it's always for you to figure it out. The planets are there to the planetary angles, really, the angles that they're making to the Earth, are there to sort of advise, or not even advise, but to sort of guide with the energy. But they don't have an opinion. They don't have a judgment at all. So it's up to us what we do with those energies. Now, until the 9th, your mind may be in this more responsible mode. Might be to do with parents, might be to do with bosses, might be to do with working hard, thinking about image, taking the responsibilities in the wider world. Your thinking could focus on the financial angle of things. And you have to defer to another. You don't have a free hand here. It could be about a contract, an agreement, a debt, or something owed to you, whatever it is. But it's easier for you to, your mind can be going into things more deeply, more intuitively, I would say. So on the one hand, I'm talking about logical thinking about this, that, and the other. But as a matter of fact, this area here that Mercury is going to be in until the 9th is sort of a sensing rather than an analytical thinking area. So if you work in a sensing kind of a way, then this is a great position for you. But also your feelings can be nearer the surface. So just trust those deeper instincts. Go for the quiet meditation or contemplation whenever you can. Then Mercury comes out of there, and between the 9th and 28th, Mercury is expanding your mind, and you're feeling more extrovert. You're feeling more kind of up with the energy of the higher vibration of aspiration and enthusiasm. So Mercury comes into the same area as the Sun. And the two of them are working together. It's the time to refresh your mental palette and think in bright new colors. And there may be a breath of wind from further afield. Plans for the future, maybe looking at travel, maybe somebody giving you a refreshing slant on things, maybe you giving others a refreshing slant on things, and putting information out there, putting wisdom out there if you can. And then Venus is there too. So there's a huge emphasis on this really expansive area of your sun sign chart, supporting relationships with those further afield, those from a different background or a different culture who have a knowledge different to yours, and you could feel yourself valued and admired for your knowledge, your know-how, but also you value and admire a teacher, a guide, a guru for their knowledge, their wisdom. But also travel with a partner would be a good idea now. And publications or education could also be emphasized. You're just maybe feeling supported and guided in an environment which you didn't know a lot about before, perhaps for some of you, and that might be in a quiet little way at home, through a book or the computer, or out there in the bigger world. I don't know, from here. And then from the 17th, Venus is the first one to move out of there into this more grown-up area of authority figures, and positively emphasizing them, I must say. And they tend to see you in a good light. People that you look up to, parents as well, come in here. And there's a harmonizing energy with Venus there. And then that's followed by the Sun. So there could be an ally for you, helping you up the ladder of success, or enabling you to organize something or manage something or deal with something. You've got somebody to hold your hand. But reputation and how you are packaging something may be emphasized. The Sun comes into there on the 22nd. And then on the 28th, Mercury comes in there, and then they're all together giving weight and giving emphasis to that same area, which is at the top of your chart. And this is you thinking about, well, which direction do I take from here, or you targeting this, or you know, going for the plan on that goal there, and plots and schemes running around in your mind, and you keeping your ear to the ground, you picking up the vibe. You very sensitive Pisceans can do that. You're getting a sense of it in your body organically, putting a mental effort into expressing yourself in the best way you can so as to get the best result you possibly can, not only for yourself but for others, because for you as a Piscean, seeing others getting it is really going to make you happy. Mars is in a very future orientated and sociable area of your solar chart, you can really pick up with things that you've waited to do for a long time, maybe years. You've always wanted to have a go at this or that or the other thing. Well, now possibly it could be the thing that you are able to experience and experiment with, and projects. You can have a lot on your plate because of a group with interests or aims in common. So you could be having more to do with the internet, or just there's more people who want a piece of you, maybe, because wherever Mars is, we have to be, you know, really keeping up with the pace, and also making decisions and initiating and just getting dynamic and active with things. So it could be that others are putting that demand on you, and you could be not in the mood sometimes. I mean, we're not all perfect. In fact, none of us is. And so you could just say, look, I'm not in the mood, but hey, I guess I'll do it anyway, because you're a Piscean. But on the other hand, what you could say is, I'm not in the mood, and I really am not in the mood. So it wouldn't be good for me to do this thing for that person when I'm not in the mood, because I'm not giving out the right vibration. So I'm going to reschedule. But if you know, it's up to you to decide. But anyway, yes, the position of Mars is progressive, it's experimental, it's technological as well. Some of you may be, you know, having more involvement with technical things and all the paraphernalia of technical things. But it's definitely time to get the ball rolling, or indeed keep up with the ball that's already rolling, to do with groups, to do with friends, to do with a circle, to do with a key group of others with interests in common. Jupiter is for a long transit until next August in your area of health and work methods, skills. You may be having more to do with skilled people over this time, this long transit, but also learning new skills, putting new strings to your bow, and figuring out a better methodology, becoming more efficient with what you do already, but definitely learning in this area here. Maybe it's to do with health. Maybe you're learning a huge amount by going up, you know, one road, and then you find that that's a dead end. So trying another road which you find is taking you away from feeling good. So experiencing and learning is Jupiter's big thing wherever Jupiter is transiting in the chart. But the indications are that you will get a chance to experience success through trying stuff out with work, employment, health regimes, until next August. And employers or colleagues and people that you work with will tend to be more appreciative of your abilities and your contributions. And you Pisceans born in the middle 10 days, or with 19 to 23 degrees rising, going to feel that energy the most. I don't know if I said about Saturn, I don't think I did. You Pisceans born in the last 10 days, or with 23 to 28 degrees rising, going to feel that energy the most this month. And Neptune's in your sign, so actually I write all this up on my website, so if you want to go and read the little blurb I put about Neptune in your sign, then just go to DianaGarland.com. And you Pisceans born in the first 10 days, or with 4 to 6 degrees rising, going to feel the energy of Neptune the most this month. And that's it for November. If you know your moon sign or your rising sign, listen to those, and I'll see you the next time.